After losing Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick in free agency, the Sixers were able to get back Josh Richardson in a trade and signed Al Horford. These moves changed the Sixers lineup drastically, so let's see how they'll adjust their game plan. Offensively, a lineup of Simmons, Richardson, Harris, Horford, and Embiid would work. Losing JJ Redick will hurt the Sixers' offense, since they relied heavily on his off-ball movement and screening. It'll be hard to replace his off-balance shooting on the move coming off this Simmons handoff. Look at how much his whole body moves to the right in the air. It's unlikely Richardson and Harris can make these shots efficiently. Redick comes off the handoff. His momentum is moving away from the basket, turning his body 180 degrees, and he was still able to hit it. Richardson won't provide the same gravity that Redick did, but that's fine as well. He's not as comfortable shooting when he's moving to his right, so it'll take some time to align his body to the rim. He's much more comfortable shooting moving to his left, even with a defender closing out on him here, or even off the dribble. I'd expect the Sixers to run handoffs for Richardson moving to his left if they need a 3. Replacing Redick with him here, Richardson will be able to make these 3s at a high clip. If he comes off his right side, he'll most likely attack the lane instead, or pull up in the mid-range area. Richardson is a good shooter if his momentum is going towards the basket, so running handoffs higher could be a good adjustment as well. Comparing Richardson and Redick's stats last season, Redick does have a slight edge in efficiency, but Richardson wasn't too far off, especially when you consider that Richardson was the Heat's first option on offense. His shooting efficiency suggests that he'll be able to replicate Redick's role in the offense, but it'll be interesting to see if he'll replicate the amount of off-ball movement and screening that Redick did. Tobias Harris had his best years in the NBA playing as the 4, but he has a very perimeter-centric game that moving to the 3 won't be a huge problem. Harris does most of his damage spotting up. Simmons draws 2 defenders to him on the post-up and kicks it out to Harris for the open 3. This time Simmons finds him in transition for a wide open 3. He's also capable of attacking off the catch if defender closes out hard. Here, he fakes the 3 and lets D'Lo fly by, and takes an open mid-range jumper. With Butler gone, Harris becomes their second best perimeter shot creator. He has enough ball handling skills to get by his defender, like he does here against Saric, and floats it in. On the switch, Harris gets into the paint. Towns recovered well, but Harris was able to get the and one on the fading jumper. Harris usually isolates when he has slower defenders on him, but he'll face quicker wing defenders at the 3, so he might struggle to blow by them. Harris knows his limitations, so against quicker defenders, he'll use handoffs to attack. Here, he shows off the Toby and Bobby connection and gets to the rim after the handoff. He'll use pick and rolls against quicker defenders as well, this time scoring off his bread and butter pull-up J. Harris could also punish mismatches in the post, this time just scoring over Payton, but there might not be enough spacing for him to do so. Usually moving up a position doesn't work because there'll be one less ball handler and floor spacer. But Horford is great at both spotting up and attacking closeouts. Horford will probably split time playing the 4 besides Embiid and the 5 when he sits. His main duties on the Sixers will be spacing the floor. He's the perfect complement to Simmons. It's easy to imagine Simmons handling the ball here instead of Kyrie. The defense will have to pick their poison between a Simmons layup or Horford jumper. Playing besides Embiid, smaller players will be guarding Horford, who will feast in the post, like he does here, finishing with a righty hook. Even with Baines located on the opposite block, Horford still had enough space to score in this possession. He has the experience of playing besides another big or a non-shooting threat, so if Baines' defender helps like Embiid does here, it's a wide open layup. Even with average spacing, he could slip a pass to the cutter for a basket, or get it to the dunker spot for a layup. Embiid and Simmons are usually in these dunker spots when they're off the ball, and Horford's passing adds another dimension to the offense. The Sixers have a lot of off-ball movement when Simmons is in the post to take advantage of his passing ability. I'd expect them to do the same with Horford, and here he threads the needle for an easy layup. With their jumbo lineup, the Sixers will have a size advantage in the frontcourt almost every night. Last season they ran the second most post-ups per game, and that number will only go up with Horford on board. Adding a 33-year-old big to the team, the Sixers' pace might slow down, but that won't stop Simmons, Harris, or even Horford leading the break, and this time he just blows by Whiteside. Horford is capable of taking his defender off the dribble when they close out hard on him. Here, he drives by Drummond and slams it home, On this play, he draws another defender to him after getting by Ilyasova, dumped it off to the dunker spot for a bucket. These plays might not yield the same results with quicker defenders at the 4, but the defense will be scrambled by Simmons and Embiid, and Horford is great at making the right play. Defense for the Sixers will be the biggest adjustment. Last year, the Sixers could switch everything 1 through 4. They can still do it now with Horford, but they should save his legs until the playoffs. With both Horford and Embiid on the floor, the Sixers will use drop coverage in pick and rolls against big men who can't shoot. Here, Embiid contains, while Simmons pursue D'Lo around the screen. This forces the Nets to reset their offense. When they run another pick and roll, the Sixers only give up a tough fading mid-range jumper. Against pick and pop bigs, they should implement the late switch system that Portland used last season. Basically, the big will contain the ball handler in the pick and roll. If they get too deep, the big will call out for a switch, and the perimeter defender will cover the stretch big. Coach Daniel does a great job breaking down the late switch scheme, so if you want to check it out, the link is in the description. Using the late switch instead of a switch when Horford plays the 4, he'll less likely switch onto the perimeter compared to switching instantly. In terms of guarding 4s straight up, Horford has enough foot speed to recover if he's beaten off the dribble. Here he erases the reverse layup by Decker. I know, Decker is not the best offensive player, but looking around the Eastern Conference, these are the power forwards Horford would be matched up with. Horford shut down Giannis last year and can probably hold his own against Siakam and Griffin. Besides that, the Sixers should feel confident with their matchups, with Horford manning the 4. By staggering Horford and Embiid's minutes, the Sixers will have an elite defensive big on the court at all times, and they'll allow Horford to play his most effective position as center as well. Instead of having Boban here, Horford will be quick enough to show on the screen and recover to Dudley for a contest. Replacing Scott with Horford on this possession, Horford would have easily erased the layup. Last season, the Sixers lacked a guard defender to lock down dynamic ball handlers, and they led the league with 25 occasions in which opposing guards scored at least 30 points. Richardson is a pest on the defensive end and will most likely guard the opposing point guard in the starting lineup. Simmons will take the opponent's best wing player, and Harris now becomes the worst defender in their starting lineup. Even though he's not a great defender, his size and athleticism is already an upgrade over Redick. He puts in a lot of effort on the defensive end, even if it doesn't yield great results. He lacks the burst to defend most 3s in the league, and gets stuck on screens quite often. Here, he gets stuck on the screen and doesn't even contest the shot. Again, he gets stuck on the screen and leads to a mismatch on Boban. However, these won't be a problem with Horford and Embiid as their last line of defense. The Sixers starting lineup will probably need some time to gel offensively. Post-ups will be the main advantage, but spacing could limit the effectiveness until Simmons can knock down some 3s. It's more likely that Brett Brown will stagger their minutes, and mostly playing Simmons and Horford together when Harris and Embiid sits, and vice versa. This will also maximize their effectiveness on the defensive end as well. The Sixers will cruise through the regular season, even if the injury bug hits Embiid. They're also sitting pretty in terms of their matchups in the playoffs, and their jumbo big ball lineup might force their opponents to adjust their whole game plan. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.